Have you ever watched a football match with someone who seems to know exactly what's going to happen before it happens? They don't just celebrate goals. They notice clever runs, tactical changes, defensive mistakes, and tiny movements that completely change the game. Meanwhile, most people spend 90 minutes doing one thing, watching the ball. But here's the truth. If you're only watching the ball, you're missing almost everything that makes football beautiful. Professional coaches, analysts, and experienced fans don't watch football the way most people do. They watch space, they watch movement, they watch decisions. And by the end of this video, you'll never watch a football match the same way again. The biggest mistake beginners make is following the ball every second. Wherever the ball goes, their eyes go too. But football isn't controlled by the player with a ball. It's controlled by the 10 players without it. Think about it. Before a perfect pass happens, someone has to create space. Before a goal is scored, someone has to pull defenders away. Before a counterattack starts, someone has already positioned themselves perfectly. The ball is only the final piece of the puzzle. The real story starts before anyone even touches it. So next time you watch a match, challenge yourself. Every few minutes, ignore the ball completely. Instead, pick one player and watch only them for 30 seconds. You'll be amazed by how much running, scanning, and positioning happens the television rarely talks about. Now let's talk about formations. You've probably heard numbers like 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, or 3-5-2. Most fans memorize these numbers. Professional fans understand what they actually mean. A formation isn't just where players stand before kickoff. It's how a team creates space, attacks, and defends. When attacking, a team might spread wide to stretch the defense. When defending, those same players become compact and close every passing lane. That's why football looks different every few seconds. The shape constantly changes. Instead of memorizing formations, ask yourself one simple question. Where are the extra players? If one team has more players in midfield, they'll probably control possession. If they overload one side, they're trying to create space on the other. Once you start noticing this, football becomes much easier to understand. Here's something every great footballer understands. Space is more valuable than the ball. Why? Because the ball can always move. Space disappears quickly. Imagine a defender steps toward the striker. That tiny movement creates space behind him. A midfielder immediately spots it. A winger starts running into it. One pass later, it's a goal. To most viewers, it looks like an amazing pass. To experienced fans, a goal actually started 5 seconds earlier when the defender moved out of position. Football is a game of creating and attacking space. The best teams don't simply pass better. They move better. One of the easiest ways to sound like you understand football is by watching what happens before every pass. Notice how players constantly look over their shoulders. They're scanning. Scanning tells them where teammates are, where defenders are, where space is, and where danger is coming from. The best players don't receive the ball and then decide what to do. They already know. That's why players like world-class midfielders seem to have so much time. They don't actually have more time. They simply prepare earlier than everyone else. So next match, count how many times a midfielder looks around before receiving the ball. You'll realize football is as much about information as it is about skill. Have you ever noticed players suddenly sprinting toward the opponent all at once? That's called pressing. Many people think pressing is just running harder. It's not. It's organized pressure. A team presses to force mistakes. Sometimes they want to win the ball immediately. Other times they simply want to force the opponent into a long pass. Professional teams don't press randomly. They wait for specific moments. A bad first touch. A slow pass. A player facing his own goal. Those moments are called pressing triggers. Once you start spotting them, you'll understand why teams suddenly become aggressive. And you'll realize pressing is one of football's smartest tactical weapons. So far you've learned that football isn't really about watching the ball. It's about reading movement, understanding space, and recognizing the hidden battles happening across a pitch. But now comes the most exciting part. In part 2, you'll learn how to predict attacks before they happen, understand tactical battles between managers, recognize individual duels, and watch football exactly like professional analysts do. That is the difference between simply watching football and truly understanding it. Now let's talk about something that wins matches but rarely makes the highlights. Off-the-ball movement. When most fans watch a game, they focus on the player dribbling or passing. But experienced fans are watching everyone else. Why? Because the smartest runs often happen without the ball. Sometimes a striker sprints toward the near post not because they expect a pass, but because they want to drag a defender away. That creates space for a teammate arriving at the far post. The player who scores gets the headlines, but the player who created the space made the goal possible. This is why football is called the ultimate team sport. Not every great contribution appears on the score sheet. The next time you watch a match, pay attention to players who never touch the ball during an attack. You might discover they were the reason the attack worked in the first place. One of the biggest differences between casual fans and football experts is anticipation. Experts aren't surprised by great passes. They expect them. How? By reading body language. Look at a player's first touch. Look at the direction they're facing. Look at where their teammates are moving. Now ask yourself, if I had the ball right now, where would I pass it? Then watch what happens. At first, you'll get it wrong. But after enough matches, you'll start predicting passes before they're played. That's when football becomes much more exciting. You're no longer reacting. You're thinking with the players. Football isn't just 11 players against 11 players. It's also one coach against another. Every manager has a plan before kickoff. Some want to dominate possession. Others prefer defending deep and attacking on the counter. Sometimes a manager changes formation in the middle of the game. A winger moves inside. A fullback pushes higher. A midfielder drops into defense. These small tactical adjustments can completely change a match. That's why substitutions are so important. A substitute isn't always brought on because someone is tired. Sometimes they're introduced to solve a tactical problem. So when a substitution happens, don't just ask who came off. Ask, what is the manager trying to change? That simple question will help you understand football on a much deeper level. Goals are exciting. Skills go viral. But defending is an art. The best defenders don't always make spectacular tackles. In fact, they often don't need to. They stop danger before it starts. Watch how they position their bodies. Notice how they force attackers toward the sideline instead of the center. Look at how they cut passing lanes rather than diving into challenges. A perfect tackle looks impressive. A defender who never has to tackle because they're always in the right position, that's even better. Great defending is about reading the game, staying calm, and making the right decision at the right time. Here's the biggest secret of all. Football isn't just about speed, or strength, or fancy skills. It's about decision-making. Every player is constantly making choices. Should I pass or dribble? Press or stay back? Shoot or recycle possession? Move inside or stay wide? The world's best players don't succeed because they make impossible decisions. They succeed because they make the right decisions again and again. That's what separates good players from great ones. And once you start watching those decisions instead of just the highlights, you'll begin to understand why some players control an entire match without scoring a single goal. Now it's time to put everything together. During your next match, try this simple routine. For 5 minutes, ignore the ball and watch one midfielder. Then spend 5 minutes watching a fullback. Notice how often they scan before receiving the ball. Notice how they communicate. Notice how they move to create space. Watch how the team's shape changes when they attack. Then watch how quickly everyone gets back into position after losing possession. Suddenly, football won't feel chaotic anymore. It will start making sense. You'll see patterns where others see randomness. You'll understand why certain teams dominate games even when they don't have the ball. And every match will become far more enjoyable. The beautiful game has always been about more than goals. It's about movement, space, timing, teamwork, intelligence. The next time you sit down to watch a football match, don't just follow the ball. Watch the players who never touch it. Watch the spaces that appear and disappear. Watch how one decision changes everything. Because once you start seeing football this way, you'll never watch the game like a beginner again. And that's the moment you truly start watching football like a pro. If this video changed the way you'll watch football, leave a like and subscribe for more videos that help you understand the beautiful game on a deeper level. Until next time, keep watching smarter, not harder, soccer ball.